to order. And we have some appointments starting at 7, so I'm going to skip over the reserve fund transfer, which we have one, and we'll go straight to hearing from our town clerk.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. So did everybody have that? That was the top budget, I think.
Right.
Good.
Did anybody have any questions for Sue on this?
I did not.
The election expenses are down. Is that because it's
We
not
have fewer elections.
Fewer elections this year?
I wish I
Yeah.
could say it was something fancy I did.
Yeah.
Fewer
Worked out well,
elections,
though.
lower costs.
Worked out well.
Yeah. Just take credit.
The, when you spoke with at the selectmen's meeting, your salary was adjusted, and I thought there was like and then your $1,000 certification, I thought the total came up to 78,140 rather than 77,836 on page.
I have 78,745. I mean, 78, that was very good. That was, I don't know, Freudian wishful thinking. That was
Oh.
48,745. The one dated 4/1/13.
Right, that came up that went up to 78,145, but then the total then
Oh,
went from 77,508, I think.
What page are you on?
I'm on,
there
I don't
was a
know which
stipend, but
version.
they told me that I didn't qualify for that stipend.
Right, so that came out in the 1,000.
Yes. Would that be the difference? The 375 came out, was replaced by the 1,000.
Right, so that's a net of 632 added.
So I guess I don't know what numbers you're looking at here.
Well, you have 77,836.
77,836, which is my entire budget, including expenses,
Right.
from, election expenses, office expenses. I see what you're saying. Election workers' wages
Right,
changed
but
as well.
if the,
It wasn't just my salary that changed.
oh. All right, I see that, the office wages.
Office
Okay.
wages changed and election
Okay,
workers
fine,
changed.
fine. My mistake,
Well, I'd hate to have to come and have no questions, so, those are the...
that wasn't the plan.
Anybody else have any? I didn't have any questions on it. No. Straightforward to me.
No?
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
All right. So the next appointment is 7:15, so we should,
Motion to
What-
approve it.
we can. I was thinking we'd come back to everything and vote all at once, but do you want
Okay.
we can do it now.
Oh.
I'm fine with it. Do I have a motion to approve the requested budget for the town clerk of, sorry, 77,836?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jamie. Do I have a
I'll second
second? Okay, Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No? So approved.
Thank you.
13.
Thank
you. Okay. So I think we have to wait a few minutes till the next scheduled appointment, so let's move back to the reserve fund transfer. I have one for the amount of $2,000 for town hall expenses. And it says there was an unforeseen expense of approximately $1,800 to replace 2 condensate pumps on the boiler. Heating and electric costs have also been high. This transfer will allow us to get through mid-May, at which time we will request another interdepartmental transfer if needed. So is this is for this town hall, not the annex?
No, this town hall.
This town hall, okay.
Actually, it's a steam system,
Okay,
so there's a condensate pump. The water, once the steam comes up through the system, cools down, it condenses and goes back and drains down into a condensate pump,
yeah,
which pumps it back into the boiler.
uh-huh,
And what happened, the pump failed. And unfortunately, the pump itself was almost $1,600.
oh wow,
And I questioned the repairman on it, and he said there was only one manufacturer of that pump. It would fit that condensate pump, which is the reservoir. So if you had to change the whole thing, we'd have been looking at probably about at least $3,000. And that would have been very labor intensive because they had to unpipe it and do the whole thing. So we went with the $1,600 pump, so it was just a replacement part for the pump itself, the motor part of it. So
So we lucked out.
that's where we stand.
okay. Okay, any other questions on this?
How are we transferring funds from a negative balance?
Well, it's from this is an emergency unforeseen expense.
From the
request
reserve.
From your reserve fund.
So we started with 50, we gave money, we voted on money last week to pay for a cruiser, but there's still quite a lot of money left in the reserve.
Okay.
When we come into May, we'll try to do an interdepartmental transfer, probably from the annex. The annex budget's doing great this year. They're on natural gas, unlike the town hall, and you know, they have about $1,000 more in their expense budget than town hall does as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
So what's the account that we're transferring the money from?
the finance committee reserve fund, which
Okay.
is budget 0113157810000. You have $16,100 left in it.
Okay.
It's on right here.
Okay.
So do I have a motion that we approve this reserve fund transfer of $2,000 for town hall expenses?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Jim?
second it.
All right, Larry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? No? All right. Um,
Thank you.
Stuff this back over here. Okay, great. Thank you. So next on the agenda, we have the assessor's office scheduled, so we're pretty close to the time, so we can
Okay.
get going.
Okay, so the budget of the assessor's office has changed slightly. The town entered into a contract negotiations and agreement with myself, the principal assessor, and you'll see that my line is increasing $3,896 due to that. There was a slight change in my administrative assistant's salary year to year based on, I think it was a slight raise that went through, a slight adjustment. To help assist with the funding of my raise, the board voted to reduce the expense line by $1,309 and the consultant line by $500. So a total of $1,809 is going down on the lower portion of the budget.
What are those professional services at 11,500?
They're for licensing fees for our software, for our vision software, and also for our customized data software. We use the same software that the treasurer's office uses. And also it's some of the mapping. We pay for mapping every year. It's about $1,200 to $1,500. It depends on what's developed. Some years it's good, some years it isn't. It's very close. It's been very tight every year,
Right.
budget-wise. So I'd like more development, but I might have an issue with that line if we have more plans.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I had a question that might be more for the personnel board, but as far as the study went and the salary increases that were recommended, in that study by the HRS group, the assessor's salary was one of the few salaries that the HRS study didn't. It showed that we were already over what their average was. So I just wonder, and there were a couple others as well that were higher than the average that they came up with. So I'm just wondering, like, how did you determine for some, not everyone has been brought up to the average. Most people have been brought into the average range. Some have not quite been brought up to that yet. Some are way down, like the town planner. And in some of the positions, there was a huge range of salaries across all those towns that were studied. And in some, there was a very small range. So the ones where there wasn't much of a range, I would think that their average is probably pretty right on. And some where the range was significant, I don't know. I wonder if it's skewed because of some of the towns in that study are wealthy communities.
Yeah, Dave Peterson from the Personnel Board.
Yep.
And you got a number of questions there. Yes, there is a wide range in the communities, for instance, where Hamilton, Wenham, Manchester by the Sea, some of those towns are wealthier.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference in terms. That's why we took a wide range of towns that were, to get two towns that are really totally comparable is very difficult. So that's why we try to take the averages.
Yeah.
And we realized that there was such a wide disparity between some of the pay versus the averages, and we are obviously limited to a large degree by how much money we had available.
Right.
So that what we did was we kind of went through and wanted to we really looked to create that pay scale, that the step plan,
Yeah.
and tried to fit people in so that they all got, everybody, or most everybody, got a raise of some sort that
Yeah.
fit into that plan.
Yeah.
And some got larger raises because some of the management positions in particular were way behind in terms of what the compensation should be. So it was
Right.
a chance to kind of even those things out.
Right. Those
As well as
yeah.
even out positions between departments.
Yep.
Now, in the case of Sean and a couple other people, the Personnel Board has jurisdiction over basically non-union employees. We have no jurisdiction over elected officials.
Yeah.
We don't have any jurisdiction over union raises, and we do not have any jurisdiction over contracts.
Okay.
So that Sean is a position where he has an employment contract with the town. So what we did was, and some of those we did with the elected positions, what we did was we asked for survey data to both assist the selectmen as well as the townspeople and you people and whoever is involved to see what some of these positions, where they fall, even though we did not have direct jurisdiction over them.
Right.
So
Okay.
the town clerk was another one that, in other words, she decides, she's an elected official, she decides what she wants to put in for, and so we're not able to dictate to her, from the Personnel Board point, of what she does not get. And same thing with Karen and, Scott, deceased Scott Levitt, but the highway surveyor, those are the three
Right.
positions that are really full-time paying positions. We don't determine those salaries. So in Sean's case, he sat down with, from what I understand anyway,
Board of Assessors.
negotiated with the Board of Selectmen, and that's where his raise.
Oh, Board of. Okay.
I don't know if I answered all your questions, if you had a couple. No.
No.
It's a complicated process, and
Yeah,
and to
yeah.
play catch-up is what Debbie's been, and myself and the board have been spending many, many hours trying to even things out, and we still have some issues with, but at this point, the other thing that took, obviously, is a huge factor is money. In other words, to bring everybody up to what they should be is just totally unaffordable.
Right,
So
no, I don't.
We're doing
yeah.
the best we can
Yeah.
to start that process.
Yeah, no, and most people are getting something.
Yeah.
I think most everybody.
And the other issue is, it might be a good time to bring it up for your perusal, is the fact that we're taking all of this money for these raises, and I assume some of the department budgets have requested increases in their budget. This is all money, basically, that's coming out of free cash. The free cash is certified once a year, and it's one-time only funding. So that when we're giving out raises here between when the unions and everybody comes in, it's gonna be, I'm not sure what that final figure will be, but it's gonna be something in excess of $150,000. That money's being taken out of free cash for this year. What that means is, next year, we have to hope that Sean finds lots of new growth. And the state doesn't cut back our money, because we have to build everything we're taking out of free cash for the budget.
Mhm.
Budget purposes, has to be built into next year's budget.
Mhm.
And if we don't get enough income and growth and stuff, then we may have problems. But I mean, at this point, there's a lot of growth appears to be going on in town, so hopeful that we can absorb most of this anyway. But it's a kind of a catch-22.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to take care of the employees in particular, and then work it into, but keeping in mind that next year's budget has got to absorb any increases that we take out of free cash for this year. So it's an important point when you're looking at the budgets and stuff to come up with, is large, if budgets are increased. We've got to account for that money somehow, so it's not free cash.
Right.
All it is, we use the money available.
This
If it was
year.
your own budget, you'd be taking it out of the bank and trying to figure out how to put it back in the bank next year, and that's exactly kind of what we're doing.
Yeah. We're on the assessor's budget.
Oh,
so.
okay, thank you.
So basically, anyway, this was a contract between the assessors, not the selectmen, right?
Selectmen also,
Oh, and the
they
selectmen.
signed off on Monday.
Oh, okay. So, no, it just was, the range on that personnel study was 34 to 86, and the average was 58 to 65,000, so it's beyond the average, but. Anybody have any other questions or anything they want to raise?
Do you think that you can make it through the year with the reduction in
Yes,
expenses?
that should be fine.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, do I have a motion that we approve the assessor's fiscal year 14 request of $125,814?
I'll make that motion.
Jamie,
A second.
second Janet. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Nope. All right. Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
We have a lot of questions.
720. Okay.
Health services employees at the same time?
The next, well, that's health services, but it's not scheduled till 7:30. I don't know.
Yeah, but police chief is 7:32.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Multitasking?
Doing one at the same, maybe.
Are there any minutes that we could approve?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For our
there are.
comments?
Yeah.
I mean, can we get one or two done?
We had, we had seen the minutes of 313 and 320. We don't have 327 yet, and the other ones we had already approved.
Is 320 in the package? I didn't see an email on the 327 minutes.
No, I
We
didn't,
do
yeah.
have 320.
Okay,
320
because I
is
only
in the
put in what I
packet.
got on an email from Linda, so I don't know if there's anything
Right.
else that you needed for tonight, but I certainly didn't put it in the package. I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah. She had sent 313, and I had sent that around to people, so I don't know if people had had a chance to look at that. Okay.
She needed a copy.
There's some issues with the 320, but we can do the other
Okay.
one first.
313, I didn't see anything. Any issues? Did anybody else? No? Do I have a motion that we approve the 313 minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jamie and a
Second it.
Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? No? Okay.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I did.
Jamie
And Larry.
I can give you, well, I can forward that to you, Debbie, if you
Yeah, we can put it in the book.
pack it. Yeah, okay. 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 So then, March 20th, Janet, you said you found some issues.
On page 5,
Page 5.
where we talk about the cost of the filter, about a third of the way down. Every 7 years cost, it says 50,000. I thought I had put 500,000.
It was
Right.
500, yep.
For those two lines.
Then there was another place, I wrote this all up at home and then put it in the wrong pile. There's a place where we were talking about software charges. It should say server and it says sewer, so. But I can, I don't know. I guess we still have time.
So we won't be approving these tonight then.
Do we want to go over any other changes or no?
Yeah, if you have anything else to.
Yes, page 2, under the 8 PM, Deb Egan, overview.
Yeah.
Okay. Minor thing on page 3, on my copy after Laura Hamilton, we've lost bold for the person that's making the statements. We go from
Yeah.
bold
Towards the
to
bottom of the page.
Yeah.
unbold.
That happens
Right.
occasionally.
Page 4, about 3/4 of the way down. Comment by Bob Snow, 6,000 gallons of gas. Some folks talk quite frank. We got to the point. Drove it home straightforward. I didn't think Bob talked like that.
Okay. Okay.
And then on page 5, I think Bob Snow again at the top. The number to call 1-800-DIG-SAFE. I think the safe should be all caps, if that's the correct phone number. I think it is. Again, 3/4 the way down, we lose the bold. Starting at Deb Egan. And then a comment about the third from the bottom, Tim Toomey. We look at total of lowage, and then it is all based on variables. I don't know what lowage, I don't know what word was meant there.
Probably usage, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be usage.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
usage.
That's all that I have.
I found my sewer.
You do?
Top of, third of the way down, page 5.
Page 5?
Laura Hamilton. We have our own, should be server.
Oh. Okay. Okay, I can get back to Linda with these changes, and then we'll revote next, or we'll vote next week. So, okay. So that brings us to almost 7:30, so we'll start with one of our 7:30 appointments. So maybe the health services coordinator
Sure.
first, since you were here.
Okay. It should be pretty straightforward. I can just skim through it a little bit if you'd like. The first page on the salaries reflection of the personnel study that was done. One thing I want to point out, the public health nurse does get a stipend, not a salary. And that's why that did stay the same. And, pretty self-explanatory there, I believe. On the third page, when we get to the, unless you have any questions on the first couple of pages. The third page on the expenses was level funded. Basically the same as last year. Pretty much right down the list that you have there. It should be pretty self-explanatory. I can answer any questions on any of them, but pretty basic things. Just
Yep.
Legal notices, mail, rest phone, fax, computers, flu clinic and health nurse supplies, inspection forms, inspection products, membership dues, seminars, lab testing, things like that. And like I said, as you can see, everything pretty much kept it the same. It seemed to be in line last year. I just wanted to point out a couple things that are not reflected in here.
Okay.
For example, when we have our special collection events, like our Hazardous Waste Day, our White Goods Collection Day, our Sharps Collection Program, our Battery Collection Program, and our Mercury Collection Program, those are all paid for through our revolving fund, which does allow us to use that money to pay for special waste. So you don't see anything in there to pay for these events and these programs. The other thing also, there's nothing there on rabies. We have a rabies line that we work with the animal control officer and the selectman's office that we pull money out of there when we have to do anything as far as prepping the animals, shipping them. We use that line, which also, like I said, isn't reflected in here.
Mm-hmm.
That money also pays for disposal of our animals in the freezer out here as well. And then, of course, mosquito control, that's not reflected in here as well. That comes from our contribution to the district and their Northeast Mosquito Control. I believe Raleigh contributes about $50,000, a little over $50,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
To that, and that's where that money comes from there. So just some, major expenses that don't show up in there, and that's just wanted to explain where those were coming from.
Okay.
As far as capital equipment, nothing this year. The only thing I could think of maybe in the future is possibly a computer, but right now we're fine. Hopefully, should say. And that's pretty much about it. I talked to Larry, had a talk one morning and went through a lot of things, and hopefully everything was pretty clear.
Yes, very.
Happy to answer any questions. Or
Anybody have any questions at all?
I don't want.
No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
How about if we move right into the police budget? Since
You
we
wanna
have-
approve it?
Well, why don't we come back to it? Well, if you want to, I don't know. Do people want to race through approving, or want to just do that at the end?
Might as well get it done now.
Get it done now? Okay.
No.
So do I have a motion that we approve the health department request for $116,237?
Yes, I do. I second it.
Sorry, so Jamie made
So
it?
I made it? Okay.
Jamie, and then Peter seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? No. Okay. So approved. All right. So, next we have the Raleigh Police Department.
Want to come a little closer? so-
Okay, please do.
Okay. What you're looking at here is a budget that started off level funded as requested, and then it's been increased salary-wise for the personnel board survey and contractual obligations. And then you'll notice that the equipment has been reduced by the cost of the cruiser, which we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, and that leaves us a net balance of minus $16,249 from last year. I realize that, you know, that the money was expended in a different year, but still, we're a little below where we were last year, so. Level funding is understandable. It's obviously not ideal. There's a couple of things I would like to point out. You know, we've been either level funded or reduced every year for the last 5 years, and with the one exception, I think last year we weren't level funded. We were brought back to where we were the year before. So, a few things when that happens, a few things go wanting, and that's maintenance to the police station itself. I'm getting some estimates from some work that needs to be done. The heating, ventilation, air conditioning system needs to be replaced in the old part of the station. We need some floors replaced. We need some doors replaced, some ceilings replaced. These aren't reflected in this budget at all. We're talking about maybe articles, but you know, we'll afford them as we can. But I just want to make sure that I at least bring them up so you guys will know. I talked with Jamie about it over the summer. And I gave her a tour and showed her the areas where the problems were. Other than that, we have been making it. We're going to make it this year, I believe, on what we were budgeted, and we'll do our best to make it next year. Any questions?
Are any of those repairs or stuff going to be in the article or so?
We're still talking about it. I've got estimates for some of the flooring costs. The biggest issue for me is we have tile floor in the booking room. Jamie, you might remember that. And if you go into our lobby, the police lobby, the tile's all pulling up, and it's kind of a trip hazard right now. It's short money to fix it. We're talking between that and the carpet that I need replaced is about $2,800 for both jobs.
Right,
That's
and the
a
rusting of the door
budgetary
frame
estimate.
and the
Well,
cell crack in the floor.
That stuff, I'm still waiting on the estimate for that one, unfortunately. It's the mason's having a little trouble getting the cost for the door, but you know, I'm thinking $5,000 to $6,000 for that. I know the HVAC is probably going to be a little more than we can swing this. It was coming in around $22,000. So, you know, I know things are a little tight, but so those are kind of my priorities. You know, unfortunately, it's like everything. The longer it goes without maintenance, the more maintenance it needs, and the more it costs you when you finally get down to it. You know, one of the things that I didn't include in here was replacement of some of the ceiling tiles. We had a mouse infestation this year, which we had to take care of, and we had some contamination, shall we say, and so it'd be nice to get some of those areas cleaned up and taken out once we're sure that the mouse problem is gone, which it seems to be. So, you know.
Just out of curiosity, there's you don't list any income, so I'm just wondering what happens when you have tickets, fines,
All the money that we generate,
confiscations of funds.
yeah, all the money that we generate goes right back to the general fund. I don't have that number with
No.
me, but it's certainly available. The treasurer should be able to provide that. We try not to use that as a carrot because, you know, it makes us kind of look like we're,
Right.
you know, trying to justify our own existence. So, you know, we try to respond to what we feel needs to be done without really paying much attention to how much money we bring in by doing those enforcement actions.
We had a discussion where the ammunition is becoming difficult to get and
Yeah.
incredibly expensive.
Yes. Has not changed at all. As a matter of fact,
Changed.
Sandy Hook's made things worse, if
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
It's
Is it one distributor?
apparently every distributor is working round the clock trying to push out enough ammo. You know, there's a lot of finger pointing as to why there's such a shortage. Some people are saying the government's buying it all up. Personally, I think we've all probably seen this in the past. You know, when we've had supposed scares about like peanut butter and stuff, everybody goes out and buys just a little bit more. And next thing you know, there isn't any because everybody's buying more than they normally use. I think there's some of that at play here. I know, for example, our applications for firearms permits have skyrocketed. My secretary's doing practically nothing but permits. So, you know, a lot of people are concerned about changes in the law that might come, and so they're getting them in now while they still can. And I think the same thing you're going to find has to do with the ammunition and the guns and other equipment that go with it. So unfortunately, that makes it difficult to get. Luckily for us, it's purchased on state contract, so it's much more difficult for them to inflate the prices. You know, if they set a state contract price, they have to abide by that. So it's not like they can gouge us, but still, if there isn't any, then it's hard to get.
That was going to be part two of my question, is if you felt comfortable that 5,000 was
Well,
going to be-
I wouldn't say I feel comfortable, but I do believe that I will be able to purchase ammunition.
Okay.
Yeah, it may take me a little longer to get it, but
Okay.
I had a question on the deputy lieutenant salary increase.
Detective Lieutenant?
Oh, sorry, detective, sorry. It's abbreviated.
Yes.
So it's going from 73.6 to 78.9.
That is the recommendation of the Personnel Board. I believe that if we spoke with the Personnel Board, they'd tell you that the wage survey showed for someone in his position, he was paid fairly low, and so they felt it was appropriate to make that size jump.
Yep, because looking at that, the average that the personnel, the company that did the study, they came up with a 69.9 to 72.7 as the average, so that's what, I mean.
I haven't seen that,
Yeah,
so.
so I'll ask Dave
Yeah, just
Peterson.
to assist you a little bit.
Yeah.
Joe has a rather unique position. When
Okay.
Chief Barry retired, we made, and I was on the Board of Selectmen at that time, Bob, the current chief, got promoted to the chief's position.
Mhm.
At that time, we basically eliminated the deputy chief's position.
Okay,
All
I
of the
see that.
duties were split, so what we ended up doing was we promoted, the board promoted, upon recommendation of the chief, Joe Gamache, who at that time was a detective, was he a sergeant, Bob, at that time?
Yes, he was, yes.
Detective sergeant, so we made him detective lieutenant. And the idea being he was the executive officer as well as doing detective work and a lot of administrative work that Bob was doing as a deputy chief. So
Right.
it's really a mixed position.
Okay.
Yeah.
And therefore it was extremely difficult to judge exactly
Yeah.
where the pay was. So the chief had made a recommendation to us, and we basically follow along with his recommendation.
Right.
And we've talked a little bit about it, that in the future, I think we need to, if that position becomes vacant, retirement, then we need to sit down with the chief and come up with a better plan on
Yeah, I
on
would.
what to do, but that's in the future, but I think that's,
Right.
just so, the chief knows that we definitely need to take another look at that, based on his experience the last three years or so, and as well as, what the needs of the department are, so.
Right. As Dave said, there was a deputy chief previously before him, and that was the deputy chief. The salary for that position was somewhere around 92,000. So
Okay. Yeah. So, any other questions on this? Anybody else have?
No.
I was just wondering how you got to these numbers. I'm just trying to figure that out. Could you walk me through that? On the
how we got to which numbers?
The totals. The wage and benefit line, $1,058,960.
It's a total.
Maybe I'm missing something. So you're totaling 586,772, right?
Which page are we on?
Page 3.
Page 3.
That was says total salaries.
Yes.
And then you're totaling 213,741 on page 4. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're adding 14,548, the increase in the COLA? Oh, what are you including now for the?
This
Or is that just?
page 5.
Yeah.
That has the police salaries. It's more of a summary page.
Okay, so nothing gets added on that page then?
Right,
Because it's
yeah.
in there already?
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
it's already in there.
Right. And then.
I understand the confusion. Yeah.
I'm just trying to charge that number, the 1058960 right now. Just trying to see what else is, for salaries and wages, what else is in there to benefits?
It should be just salaries and wages.
And benefits too. right?
Well, I have to increase some of the costs to fill holidays because it costs me more.
So where are those numbers? I'm just trying to see where they are in here.
Is it page 6?
Page 6 includes some of those numbers. Secretaries' wages were increased due to the personnel study. Dispatch wages were increased due to the personnel study. Janitor wages are not increased.
But the 14,548 is already reflected in the previous page for those, right? And then the
Yeah.
only thing you're bringing in is the 2629 subtotal for, I don't know, I'm kind of confused because I don't know how these numbers tie.
To back
How
up.
how's this, is the difference the benefits or something that's not, because it's a sizable difference.
The pages calculate between each other, and the idea is it populates the data from one page to another, and it kind of gives me a summary of how much increase we're having. So, for example, page 5,
Yeah.
it breaks down the individual increases, but it's reported on page 6 on previous page totals. It's not doubled in, it's just reported again.
But I think that's already included in the 800,000. I mean, I think it's already included in the appropriation for the wages on page 1. So, do you understand, Debbie, what the question is? Is there are the benefits supposed to be on the sheet too?
No,
Are
you're talking
they-
about health insurance?
Yeah, well,
No.
is that,
No, no.
with wages and benefits, it says total here, is
Well-
that,
That's, in the union contract, there's provisions, for, AFSCME employees and, the Mass Cops union.
Yeah.
There's 2 unions and non-union employees in the police department. So I think what the chief is trying to do is just show the cost out, for what he has to pay for various, benefits, what we call shift differentials, second and third shift. Anytime there's a rate increase in hourly rate,
Mhm.
it has another effect to shift differential over time. the vacation, benefits and, some of the other things in here that are tied to those increases. There was no change in that allowance.
But I mean, I see your question, Peter.
Yeah, I don't see how the numbers.
Because I just did the numbers, I added the total on page 3, page 4, and then I got the page 6, I think. Oh,
On page 6, where it says previous page total 793,655, if you add page 3 and page 4, it comes to 800,463.
That's what I get.
yeah, and then I think you have to add page 6. I think I took the wrong number. The 265,304,
That's what I,
but then that's still not enough. Or is too much?
well, the 265 plus the 793,655 would be the 1 million, right? Oh, no, is that right? No, that doesn't add up either.
Let me see this again.
Because page 6, it looks like it's dispatchers, so that's different from, with dispatchers and janitor. It's different
The
from page 4.
dispatchers on page 6 is from the Form 2.
Yeah, I didn't use Form 2 in anything I added.
You wouldn't need to use Form 2, only, Form 2 is only the chief's salary, so.
Right, it ties. There's-
So on page 4, if you take the subtotals, 47,398 plus 158,916, I get 206,314. And I bet that ties then.
What-
Plus,
Did you include the 7,000 too?
and then
The
72.
70.
Plus.
When I took the
And I still
213, I was off 44,756, but I did it manually, so I'm not.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if,
It's still off by a few hundred, I am, but I think those totals aren't, the 213 isn't the right total there, unless something's missing up there, I don't know.
Okay.
I did mine wrong.
I can't even. So what was your total, Karen?
No, you know what, I was adding the two subtotals and coming to a different figure, but then I see you're adding the
774.
I
janitor.
only, because I'm way off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm way off. I'm like
74.
819,000 and it's 1,058,000 or
But this is,
1,058,000.
oh,
160, isn't it?
I mean, likely it's,
Is it like, on these department budgets, do they include all the health insurance and
No.
stuff separately?
No.
It's- It's not in here,
No,
but it's total in here?
this is the total police budget that's,
It says wages and benefits.
yeah, this is the benefits of, and the union contracts for vacation time, shift differential,
Okay.
is, just the police and dispatchers.
so maybe the 792
Just
needs
that.
to be added into that line. No.
The
that'd be too high.
dispatchers are
That's-
already covered
That's already,
on,
the whole, that's just COLA though, and that's supposed to be part of the, unless we're mixing and matching things here, and then you have to extrapolate, maybe you have to extrapolate, because some of it's included in the salary and some isn't. I think maybe that's what you have to do. Because, you know, numbers don't really tie if you just take the subtotals.
Well, I think what the chief was trying to do was present the base
Okay.
rates, correct, chief, for all
Yeah, so,
employees.
so you can look at the
And-
budget and see who's
and-
making what money.
And in the bargaining units, both of those bargaining units right now, there's no wage change, other than what's been negotiated. And there was a memorandum of agreement that factored in a 1.5% for fiscal 14. But what the chief also has to show in his budget is all these extra unique benefits to a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation, unlike, you know, highway or water or whatever. So he presented page 5 as the breakout
Right.
of some of these benefits that are union-specific. So he has to also cost out what the implications are of a 1.5% rate increase to the police officers' salaries. So I think that's what he was trying to show, how overall, so we could have a clear representation of what the increase is, just not to base, but to all the other things. Overtime, vacation, shift differential, which does change an employee's hourly rate if they work second or third shift.
yeah, I can't see how they
But the
tie, but.
the 1,058,000 and, I mean, a total of 1,170,436 is a good number though. I mean, because I wouldn't be able to tell, you know, by this, you know, but if that's.
What number are you having trouble with?
You know,
With
well,
total?
I'm coming up with like 816,000 and it's like.
For what,
there's a
the
million-
subtotal wages and
When
salaries?
you
This
add up
number
all
here.
the subtotals and,
Oh.
but, you know,
Well, looking year over year, it doesn't seem to be skewed, so
Right,
it just
right.
looks like we don't have the backup to support
Yeah.
that
Right.
number.
And that number is generated by,
That comes from page 6, right?
right.
Okay.
So that number shows secretary wages, dispatch wages, janitor wages, all these holiday wages. So you have
And the dispatch wages is from Form 2, from 158,916. The previous page total is from page 5.
right.
So where does page 4 fit into page 6?
Yeah, I was looking at page 4.
Okay, page
It actually
4,
says
the
fiscal year
158,916 goes to page 6. Page 6, second line, 158,916.
That's this one.
So yeah, page 5 does have the total, 793,655.
Page 4 is a little confusing because it has the 158,916 plus the 7428, which is duplicated on page 6. The 158,916
Plus the 47,398.
and the 7428.
So these three numbers.
So the dispatch and janitor wages are actually from page 4.
Right.
So the 105,890 is the good number. Um, So do we have any other questions? You good? Peter, did you have any?
No, I think I figured out that the 213,000, where is it, the 265,304 is the new, actually, those costs I don't think are included in the previous pages, the 793,
Right.
655 is though.
Right.
So that's, I think I see now,
Yeah.
close enough, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the 265,304 includes from Form 2, 158,916 and the 7428. He just breaks them out further for us
Right.
on the Form 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, do I have a motion that we approve the police chief budget for fiscal year 14 of $1,341,820?
I'll make-
motion.
So Steve, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Janet, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Nope. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So, we're running a little behind. Next, we have the town administrator for the selectmen's budget.
Okay, and we happen to have two selectmen present tonight.
Yep.
I wasn't sure when I did the agenda, if they could make it.
Should I recuse myself from this? Okay.
See ya.
There's a pen if I want this. Excuse me.
I just had one question on the second page, where it's the wage increase calculation, the vacation other earnings. What is that?
I'm allowed 1 week of vacation buyback.
Oh,
my
I see.
contract.
Okay.
That $281.34 savings, is that somewhere in the budget or?
It's just, what I'm trying to show is by reworking, the weekly schedule between the administrative assistant and, the, first executive secretary. Overall, this reconfiguration or redistribution of work hours will have a net savings of 281.
So that's already figured into somewhere
That's in the
in the
total.
169,388.
Correct.
Okay.
You said the decimal wrong in one place,
I'm sorry.
down next to the vacation.
On Form 2?
Yeah, page 2, the calculation.
Oh, okay, vacation equals,
It's just moved over one spot.
oh, I see. Thanks.
Oh, I see.
On Form 3, the office supplies went down by 600 and the postage went down considerably.
Yes.
Is that
we-
because it's, or what's the reasoning there?
I know with the postage, we just overall have been spending less. I don't know, I think it's probably because we're just scanning documents and emailing them
Okay.
wherever they go, town attorney or wherever. So we found that overall, that's been a reduction. Of course, this budget as presented doesn't include what we'll be spending on the town meeting warrant and the cost of town meeting. There'll be
Right.
an article on the special town meeting warrant, transferring money from another line At this point, it's the town council line into this budget to cover those mailing costs and printing costs and things like that. In the office expenses, I know Amy Leiden, I know that you all know her, she's been working on just getting some good pricing from different vendors. So overall, she's been able to, I guess, just keep the lid on what we've typically spent for supplies.
Actually, we're reusing the paper clips too.
And even
Okay.
things like these binders, you're surprised. I look at W.B. Mason, they're like $35 for some of them. We've been able to,
Mhm.
you know, Doreen or Amy are out, they will find some good deals at different, you know, I don't know, dollar stores or whatever, and just buy a few, and I don't know, I guess that's overall the savings on that. We're also hoping to, there's gonna be a zoning bylaw amendment on the warrant, which will move the special permit granting authority for the illuminated lighting signs from the Board of Selectmen to the Planning Board. And at this point, what happens is if there's an application for an illuminated sign from a company in town, we charge $200 application that goes into the general fund. But our expense budget has to be at the cost of the legal notice, the mailing, you know, the envelopes and things like that. And the selectmen feel it's more appropriate with the planning board than the selectmen, so that's enough. But that will be a savings, I think.
Didn't the personnel board recommend an increase for the selectmen?
They're elected,
With all
so we
these,
don't-
what's that?
They're elected, so we don't get involved.
Oh.
If you noticed, when we had, the last year when we had the 2% cut, actually it was the year before.
Yep.
We took a 10% cut. And we were the first ones to enter it on our budget. We felt that that was something we had to do,
Yeah.
so we won't push the envelope.
Well, my only
I don't know,
concern is like,
Put a lot
you
of
know,
hours
I
in.
know that the town people deserve increases. I know most people were probably getting underpaid. But my thing is, I'm concerned, in the future, like you're supposedly the operating expenses are, are level funded. But you really believe, in some cases, they've gone down to make up for the difference in the wage increases. Do you really believe that that's really gonna be the true budget for FY14? That there's not gonna be any issues? From...
We really don't know, Peter, but I mean, what we've asked the various boards and departments to do is level fund their expenses this year. We really haven't got too much pushback on that. Most of them have sat down and level funded most of their
Yeah, but I mean,
services.
when the reality comes about, towards the end of, June of 2014, was there gonna be any gaps or deficiencies in the
Oh,
operating
hopefully
budget?
not. I
Or,
mean, they haven't come back and told us that they think there will be. And if they're frugal, like Debbie just mentioned, with Amy and Doreen going to the dollar store and buying binders that cost about $3 a piece instead of the $20 a piece you pay from the regular stationery store. Hopefully they're doing the same thing. I think by awarding them the step increase and getting the salary squared away, they appreciate that. And they're willing to go a little bit further, try to save money on the other end of the operation. I've said it, I don't know, hundreds of times. The most important asset that this community has is its employees and volunteers. It really is. I mean, people don't think that that's the case, but it's true. Without those people, like our staff, you just don't operate. You really don't. So we can help them out and get them a little bit more, keep them happy, keep them wanting to work, wanting to save things. I think the town benefits from that.
The internet expenses, that just moving to website?
The internet is paid through the IS, just the general internet, but the selectmen's budget does cover the cost of the website. It also, it covers, compliancy, things like, greenscapes, the town's membership in Greenscape, which is a requirement under the, National Pollution Discharge Elimination System, Phase 2. There's a big, EPA permit gonna be released soon, and by having the town be part of that, then we can meet the public participation requirement, and that we have to check off every year with the EPA. So a lot of, like, things that don't go in a special budget line are funded out of our expense line. The town's membership in the MMA, which, you know, produces the beacon and things like that.
Mhm. Anybody have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion that we approve the Selectmen Department's requested budget of $224,382?
I'll make the motion.
Janet?
Second.
Second, Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Nope. So 4, 3, 13.
Can I get Jamie?
Yep.
I can,
Okay. So next on board, we have the town accountant's budget, or that was the next in my pile. Is that what everybody has? So the only question I had on this was also the other earnings. So that column is basically if you buy back vacation. Is that full-time employees can,
That's right, the town
or
council
sell back with
gets
vacation?
a buyback.
Okay. Otherwise, expenses are level funded. There's the salary increase for the personnel board recommendation, but I don't see
She has a
anything funny.
contract, so.
Oh,
It
she
was
has a
actually a
contract.
contract, agreement
Oh,
for
okay.
1.25%.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions on this one?
No.
no.
Okay. Do I have a motion that we approve the town accountant's budget of $70,501?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jamie?
Second.
Second, Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No. Okay. All right. Then next I have the fire department. Does everybody have that one? Or, okay. So on this, we had met last week, I think, with the fire chief. Did anybody have any questions on this?
No, not really.
Janet, were you?
No, I was fine with that.
Oh, okay, all right. So, do I have a motion that we approve the fire department budget request for $442,971?
I'll make the motion.
Janet? Do I have a second? Larry? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, approved. All right. Next, I have the animal inspector. Does everybody have that one? So this is a very slight increase for the salary and level funded on expenses. I thought this one was pretty straightforward. Do I have a motion that we approve the animal inspector proposed fiscal year 14 request for $4,671?
I'll make a motion.
So Steve, and a second. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. I'll give it to Jamie. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No? Okay, approved. The next is the animal control officer. This one no longer has expenses, is that right?
$1,622.
Yeah, it's got 0 increase, which is level funded.
I don't, yeah, you
No.
know what, yeah, I think that's.
Unless, is it?
I have expenses there, it's just that's the difference.
Oh, sorry,
Right.
I'm looking at the wrong line. Okay, sorry. Okay, so, do I have a motion that we approve the animal control officer request for $15,806?
I'll make the motion.
Janet? Do I have a
Second
second?
it.
Larry? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay. Good. So, tree warden is next in my pile. Is that, okay. So the salary's level funded and the expenses are going up $1.
This is an elected position, as Mr. Peterson was referring
Okay.
to, so this wasn't really placed in
Yeah.
the grade system.
Yeah. Okay. Do I have a motion that
Well,
we?
before that,
Oh, sorry.
What are the expenses? What is the tree warden?
They have to cut trees, branches down. It's called public shade trees under the statute that is under the jurisdiction of the tree warden. So the maintenance of trees that are on public ways, so sidewalks and things like that. Maintenance to make sure they're healthy.
So that,
He can determine whether a tree needs to be taken down.
He hires
Company
contractors
to do it.
sometimes to do it.
okay.
Or if he has
It's a-
chainsaw work that the highway department does a lot of times, and he can charge off some of the chainsaw.
Yeah, I was just wondering what he does different from the highway and maybe the light department as far as taking care of trees.
Sometimes he has to bring in a contractor because of the size of the tree.
Right.
The light department can help him with some minor things. But if you get a takedown, that's a good sized tree, then you would generally bring in an arborist with a bucket truck and a chipper and the stump grinder and that kind of thing. So some of this money is used for that.
Are you good?
Yes.
Okay. So do I have a motion that we approve the tree warden budget request for $16,367?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jamie.
I'll second it.
Second, Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. Then next is the recycling budget. So there's a slight wage increase here. My thing doesn't say, unless I don't have all the pages of it, it doesn't say the fiscal year 14 request. Do you have, oh, maybe I didn't print out everything, okay. Okay.
Do you need a copy?
You know what, I have it in here. But he gave me everything in here.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, that was, it should say FY 14 days.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I do, I don't know, I must not have printed it or something. Okay, so. Any questions on this budget? Do I have a motion that we approve the recycling department budget request of $12,473?
I'll make the motion.
Janet
I'll second.
and Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. Approved. Then next is the town land maintenance highway. And this is just expenses. Am I? Yeah. For $3,500.
Is this is this strictly for mowing of all the town properties?
Yes. Well, when we say all, it's not quite all.
Okay.
The one thing that is not included in here is the landfill.
Right.
And that requires special equipment because of the membranes and things that make up the landfill. So we have to use a special, and we hire that out to a subcontractor.
But like, well, the light department, is that included, mowing that, and the water department?
It's basically, no, I don't know if the water department does it or not, but most of it's
I don't know if they
town
have-
commons.
Okay.
Town common, the various commons throughout town, Weathersfield Street, Cross Street, Pleasant Street, those types of little islands and things like that. Some roadside clearing also, where you get a small secondary road where it has a lot of brush or grass on the side. They'll do them once or twice a year through the season.
Okay.
And actually, on the common ones, particularly the town common and the other ones, we had contracted that out through a bidding process. But the highway came to us this year and said that they thought they could do it. What they're going to be looking for under an article is a piece of equipment to attach to their mower, which they call a bagger, for like $3,000, and they will do all of the mowing at that point.
At the common though.
The commons and whatever else they have to do, yeah.
Right,
Whatever's
but
done.
we'll still have this part here.
Yeah, well, this is gonna be the highway. What this budget's designed to do now is give this back to the highway department to do, rather than bid it out.
Well, we would pay for the landfill mowing
Yes.
out of this budget. And that would be done by a contractor with special equipment.
But does it include the town hall and the library? And
No, actually, so what the highway department said that they would be able to take over, rather than use the contractor we have now that does the town common, town hall, these little common areas on the east side of town that you see at some of the intersections. They said that they would be able to do it if they got a bagging unit put onto their mower. And so they don't have the capacity to do the landfill mowing, which is huge and needs special equipment, so that would still be under contract.
So this is strictly the highway department and the rest of the town land maintenance.
The highway department will do the bid
But-
for the landfill mowing contract,
Right, but the rest of the land maintenance.
will be done by the highway department.
so
Like
it
this-
does or doesn't include the town hall and the library?
The highway
This-
department will absorb out of their budget the mowing
They'll take that responsibility?
instead of having the contractor do it.
Okay.
But we still have to have a contractor do the landfill.
Right. Okay, thank you.
What you find with a bidded contract, if we have a dry season, they will generally do the mowing once a week, whether it needs it or not. I think the highway can do it
When it's needed.
and pace themselves at that. If it needs mowing, fine, we'll do it. If it doesn't need mowing, we can wait another week.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be able to save a little bit there.
We had some instances last summer where the grass was growing so fast, and there was a couple of different events. I don't know, vehicle night from the library had that on the common, and maybe it was also the Independence Day celebration, I'm not sure. But the schedule of the mowing, resulted in that the grass wasn't cut, and it just seemed to be a little high than it should have been, like it wasn't clean and
Just didn't
freshly
look
cut.
good, yeah.
And it was observed last year that didn't really work out well, but we couldn't call the contractor back in and do a special cut. Then we'd be, you know, going against what the terms of the contract was.
Okay.
No, I just don't see if this is strictly for the highway department and an increase, why it just doesn't kind of fall in with the general highway department, why there's a separate budget for it.
Well, the selectmen, I used to do the bidding and the work for the mowing contracts. And several years ago, Scott Levitt had offered to take it over, and it's really more of their specialty than mine. And he said he would take care of the town common and all these areas, so he handled that procurement.
He actually did the bidding. He was the one that put out the bid. The highway department put out the bid itself.
Right, but
Now they've decided that they can still do this without having to put out a bid.
Right, understand that, I just don't know why you have a separate item for it, that's all, but I mean, if you want it that way, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think it wasn't rolled into the regular highway budget before because he put it out as a separate bid. So I think that's why it's kind of a carryover, if you will. And I think at this point, we're just gonna give it a try and see how it works.
Okay.
If they come back and say, hey, you know, we made a mistake.
Okay.
We can't handle it all.
I can see that, yes.
Then we can roll it back out again.
Sure, okay.
Okay, so do I have a motion that we approve the town land maintenance budget request of $3,500?
I'll make that motion.
Jamie, do I have a second? Steve? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any nays? 13. Cemetery? This is completely level funded from last year. So, did anybody have any questions on this?
Well, not about the expense, I just wondered what's going on with the gate, the fence? What's going on with that?
The
anyway?
fence is supposed to be, they're going to put it together. The last time I heard was about 2 days ago. The company said they will be here on May 6th to assemble it. It'll probably take them about a week to a week and a half to put it together. So that should be coming along, should be ready for Memorial Day.
Great.
That was the last word I got.
Okay. Do I have a motion that we approve the cemetery budget request of $19,052?
I make the motion.
Okay, Larry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Peter? I haven't let Peter second anything yet. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Nope. All right. Next is the Parks and Recreation. And this is all completely level funded, so anybody have any questions on that?
I do. The signage and stuff like that, is that something that is an income? You know, when they put up the signs for Sal's Pizza and the bank and everybody else?
Oh, you mean the advertising on the backstop up at something
Right.
up at Table Street? I
Yes.
believe there's is there a revolving?
Yeah, they have a revolving account.
I actually think it goes to one of the youth leagues.
Okay.
It doesn't come into the town.
I don't think, okay, so obviously it doesn't come to the town.
I'll ask on that. There is a revolving fund that the rec committee and the selectmen have for donations and for the user fees. But I wasn't sure. I thought that was something that was run by the Little League. You're talking about Haley Field, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was something that was run by the Little League, but I'm not really sure on that.
Is that appropriate? To advertise on town property and not have it go into the revolving fund?
I'm not sure how it works. It wasn't something that really came to the selectmen.
I'm not sure how it works either. do allow advertising, if you will.
Right, I mean, I know that there's I drove by there today and there's nothing up, but then again, it's not the season for it, but I
We allow
remember that.
organizations to put signs on the backstop on the town common to advertise their various programs.
Right, but I mean, this would be like, there's a sign there for Sal's Pizza that, and some realty signs, and I didn't know whether those were
Well, the
team
realty-
sponsors or.
The realty sign, I know that the person who was the commissioner of the instructional league for the baseball, John something, I can't remember, but he ran the leagues and stuff, so he was, advertising too, and Sal's Pizza gives pizza, when there's different, baseball, kids' events for baseball and, over there, so. I don't know.
We can look into that.
Yeah, I just didn't know, who handles that and who controls what signs can go up there type of a thing.
I believe it goes to the Little League.
Little League.
In years past, we didn't allow signs.
Right.
And then I believe the rec committee entered into agreement with the Little League to, whether that's appropriate or not is dubious. But it's kind of like where it just kind of developed on its own, I think. And it's probably something that the board should look at.
Yeah, we'll look into it and see.
Okay.
What the arrangements are, whether they're appropriate or not.
Okay.
That's all that I had.
Do I have a motion that we approve the Parks and Recreation budget request of $29,734?
I'll make that motion.
Jamie, do I have a second?
Second.
Janet?
I'm fine, you can have it.
I gave it to Janet. So, all in
You got
favor?
it anyway.
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No. Carried. Then Historical Commission and Historic District Commission. This is all level funded. Anybody have any questions?
No.
No? Do I have a motion that we approve the Historical Commission and Historic District Commission request for $402?
I make the motion.
Larry?
A second.
Okay, Steve, seconded. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. The Brad Street property, this, the expense is going down to 1,000, and the note explains that. Did anybody have any questions on this?
No.
No, okay. Do I have a motion that we approve the Brad Street property budget request of $1,000?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Janet. Do I have
I'll
a second?
second it.
Larry? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No, okay.
No, I did have a question, but I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
if it has anything to do, like, you're still keeping up that community farming thing, right, over in the Brad Street?
Yes.
Comes under the
No.
agricultural.
Oh, it comes up the agricultural?
Yeah, what we were doing before was the house still had electricity. And the reason it was on was because the agricultural guardian was using the well for the house. So we needed the well pump to be running. And we felt that it was worth the $5 or $6 a month, only to keep the well going, pumping it every once in a while during the summertime. So when it was sold, there wouldn't be any problem with the well.
Okay.
So at this point, we're just looking for the 1,000 to do the mowing on the parcel that's designated for low-income housing that at some point we have to deal with.
Mhm.
And also trim the side of the road and keep the driveway open for the garden, which we've been doing before.
So the other part that I mentioned was coming out of the agricultural department?
Yes, yeah.
We're not looking at that budget today, right?
I think we already approved
Oh,
it.
we already approved that
I
one?
think that's already been approved.
Oh, okay.
So,
I missed.
if the house sold, how are they gonna water?
Well, I think they're gonna make an arrangement with the homeowner.
Oh,
He's agreed that he will help them out.
very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got very lucky
Yeah,
with the sale of that property and who bought it, because they're doing a terrific job down there.
very
They
nice.
really are.
Good. Okay. Next is the recycling department. So, do you have it?
No.
We did it.
Recycling.
Oh, we did? Why do I have that in my file?
You recycling it again?
I don't know, maybe I'm recycling.
I thought we were finished. Is anyone?
Okay.
That's the end of mine.
Okay, sorry. Well, we're done. Then, next on the agenda, we had, well, general discussion. Does anybody have any general things they want to bring up?
No.
Okay, or updates from FinCom liaisons to other boards? Anybody have anything they want to raise? Anything exciting?
No.
No? Okay.
Wow, an early night.
What's that?
An early night.
I know, I
Yeah.
know. So it's
We're not gonna
8:30.
have to assault Peter for his cookies.
Do I have a motion that we adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Janet?
Second.
Steve? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cookies, a steak sandwich.
A steak
Oh.
sandwich.
They look
We're
like
not picky.
cookies. Glad we found out now. We would have fought you for it. You know, had it really run over.
Graduation isn't until like,
Camera
maybe
guy's
something,
not
the ceremony.
paying attention.
Yeah, Thursday's our big presentation, Thursday morning. And then Friday we still have class, but I think we go for presentations and
They're adjourned.
that's it.
Excellent.
Is that guy working till almost midnight on